Chapter 41 The Third Soul Skill, Please Collect, Recommend, and Invest. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It's already the next day, as a blue halo enveloped his body, 3 soul rings floated up behind Lin Chuan one after another, 1 yellow and 2 purple, swaying and glowing, indicating the success of absorbing the soul rings. Seeing this scene, Shui Lanxin and Leng Man, who were nervous, immediately felt relieved. God knows how worried they were during this period of time. They also chased away many soul beasts in the process. They were really tired, but fortunately, it finally worked. The two looked at each other with a touch of joy on their faces. Lin Chuan opened his eyes, and a sharp edge flashed in his eyes. Congratulations, Xiao Chuan, you succeeded again. Shui Lanxin congratulated with a smile, and then asked impatiently, how is the situation? This two-headed wind demon wolf is a mutated soul beast, and the soul skills it provides should be very good. Not bad, right? Lin Chuan nodded lightly. It's indeed not bad. My soul power has reached level 33. As for soul skills. With a wave of his hand, a black short bow appeared in his palm. Without the help of arrows, he pulled out the bow string, and the dark purple soul ring flashed instantly, and an arrow formed by the power of the wind appeared out of thin air. Third soul skill, swift wind and arrow rain. There was no sound. Shui Lanxin only felt a flash of white light in front of her eyes, and the arrows flew out quickly. Then 5 identical arrows suddenly split in the air and pierced into a big tree. With a bang, the thick tree trunk exploded instantly, and the wood chips were shattered and scattered in all directions. This is my third soul skill, the wind and rain of arrows. Release an arrow carrying the power of the wind, which will split after being shot. When the arrow hits the target, it will instantly release tiny wind blades to cut objects within a certain range. Each additional soul ring will split more. Shoot out 2 arrows. The most important thing is that the blast of arrows will make no sound after being shot out, and the speed will be faster than the explosive arrows and ice arrows. It is difficult for ordinary soul masters to avoid it. If it is used for a sneak attack, it can be said that it is impossible to prevent it. It's truly a soul skill from a mutated soul beast. It's really powerful. Listening to Shui Lanxin's praise, although Lin Chuan was quite satisfied, he was not excited. After all, even if he became a god at level 100, there would only be 20 arrows after the storm of arrows was shot. If different souls could be, it would be nice to combine skills, but it's a pity that he can't do this yet. No matter what, Ogawa, your third soul skill is very good. Just its silence and speed of fire make it difficult for people to guard against. If there is a team battle, you are definitely the sharpest attacker. Shui Lanxin is becoming more and more satisfied with Lin Chuan, a student. Not only is he highly talented, but he is also lucky. Most people cannot encounter mutated soul beasts, and his age is so suitable. Sometimes, she really doubted whether Lin Chuan was the biological son of the god. Thank you, Dean and Chief Protector. Lin Chuan smiled and bowed. Seeing this, Leng Man's eyebrows moved slightly, and a faint arc appeared at the corner of her mouth, but she quickly hid it. Okay, this is not the place to talk. Since we have obtained the third soul ring, let's set off back to the academy immediately. Lin Chuan glanced at the surrounding environment and nodded slightly. The 3 of them turned around and walked outside the sunset forest, but while walking, there were sudden roars not far away. Lin Chuan also sensed several auras, but the strongest one among them was not even comparable to Leng Man. Someone should be hunting the soul beast. We'd better not go there to avoid unnecessary misunderstandings. Shui Lanxin told her own guess, and also did not forget to explain to Lin Chuan what to do in this situation. Lin Chuan listened silently and looked curiously in the direction of the sound. There were several figures exposed in the woods that were not too dense. That's the uniform of Tiando Royal Academy. Lin Chuan had stayed in Tiando City for a while, and occasionally met students from Tiando Academy in the city, so naturally he would not forget these familiar clothes. There were 8 people in total. One of them, a man in his 30s, was standing aside to watch the battle. The remaining 7 boys and girls of half an age were besieging a spirit beast. A student from Tiando Academy, but even if they are not close, Shui Lanxin and Leng Man can still clearly see the situation in the distance with their eyesight, especially after seeing the bright soul rings. Shui Lanxin said clearly, these children should be members of the Tiando Royal Academy team, Xiaochuan, in the next Continental Advanced Soul Master Academy Elite competition. They may be powerful opponents. Lin Chuan chuckled, but did not respond. His eyes were now completely attracted to the girl with short dark purple hair, De Guyen. After all, purple hair does not exist in Douluo continent, it is too recognizable. Of course, Lin Chuan was not attracted to the girl because of her beauty, but because her grandfather was Douluo, the famous poison Douluo. Douluo's medicine garden, also known as the Ice and Fire Eyes, is located in the Sunset Forest. There are all kinds of fairy grass growing there, and Lin Chuan is quite greedy. Unfortunately, it is not easy to obtain it, but it does not mean that it is impossible. Dean, after you return this time, could you please help me collect some books on medical and poisonous techniques? Huh? What do you want these things for? Shui Lanxin's face was full of curiosity, and Leng Man looked at her calmly. I just want to learn more. Dean, don't worry. I will allocate my time reasonably and it will not affect my normal practice. After hearing this, Shui Lanxin did not refuse and nodded lightly. Okay, the academy also has a lot of books. I will also ask the Shui family to help collect them. Thank you so much, Dean. Don't be so polite, little guy. If you practice hard, that will be the greatest reward for me. That I have to admit that sometimes the background is still very useful. At least it can save a lot of time and get what you want. If you want to get the fairy grass, you should wait until you can solve Douluo's troubles before trading. Of course, Lin Chuan also needs to have a certain level of strength before talking about it. After all, it's all about strength. However, one more study item will be added in the future. Without any intention of disturbing them, the three of them withdrew their gaze and continued walking towards the outside of the Sunset Forest. After traveling for a period of time, I returned to Tianshui College again, just like when I left, without disturbing too many people. After saying goodbye to Shui Lanxin and Leng Man, Lin Chuan came to the library of Tianshui College. He picked up books about medical skills, poisons, and various herbal medicines, sat down at an empty desk in the corner, and slowly opened the cover of a book. Then let's get started, and strive to master the level of medical skills that can detoxify Douluo before the age of 12. Lin Chuan murmured to himself, and then immersed himself in the ocean of knowledge. You have carefully read books on poison techniques and gained a little bit, and your poison technique proficiency +1. The liver is done. Chapter 42 4 years, seeking collection, recommendation, investment. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Feishuang Mountain, Library, Wooden House. Lin Chuan once again lived a 3.1-line life, and every day was quite fulfilling. After breaking through level 30 and becoming a soul master, Lin Chuan found that he could 100% refine the soul refining rice. No matter how much energy it contained, he could absorb and refine it all through meditation. This undoubtedly made him very happy, but correspondingly, the speed of cultivation has not increased much. After all, the higher the soul power level, the more time it takes to advance to the next level. Even if Lin Chuan had the assistance of spirit refining rice, it was still not as fast as expected. Even so, it feels so wonderful to see myself getting stronger little by little. In this way, for years passed in a flash. At the edge of the pool, Lin Chuan held a hatchet and silently stared at the graceful figure in front of him. The air of frost suddenly hit, and it was in front of Lin Chuan in an instant. Facing this terrifying temperature, Lin Chuan just dodged with a flicker of his figure and approached forward. Laugh. Lin Chuan slashed with the hatchet in his hand, and the sword flashed. Leng Man's expression changed, and he quickly dodged, but the sharp blade still whizzed by. Crack. The hatchet did not fall on Leng Man, but was blocked by the layer of ice crystal armor on his body. Broken. Lin Chuan raised the knife and shook it. The terrifying power spread up, and dense cracks appeared on the ice crystal armor instantly. As if it was about to be completely broken, Leng Man snorted lightly, raised his palm and hit Lin Chuan on the chest. Lin Chuan moved quickly, using his body skills to the extreme. Call. The shadow of the knife roared. Lin Chuan only felt that his body and the knife were incomparable, and he could move every move according to his heart. He could even clearly capture the strong wind caused by the high-speed movement of the hatchet. Clang! The hatchet lightly touched the palm, first shaking, and then twisting. This powerful soul skill from the Soul Saint was instantly resolved. This sudden change immediately made Lang Man's eyes widen. Even though they had fought countless times, but she still didn't understand what was going on. The source of this inexplicable power is really unpredictable. The tip of the knife was sent forward. Lang Man didn't have time to think about it. The purple soul ring behind him flashed instantly, and a wave of frost power spewed out in all directions with her as the center. Lin Chuan met him with a knife and was instantly pushed away. The fifth soul skill, Ice and Snow Meteor, that while Lin Chuan's footing was not stable, the black soul ring behind Lang Man bloomed with light, and a huge ball of ice blue light quickly condensed and shot toward Lin Chuan. The power of the 10,000-year soul ring can still send chills down one's spine even from a distance. Lin Chuan's eyes flashed, and the soul power surged in his body. Cut. The sword shines like a sword, activating the power of heaven and earth. The whizzing sword light collided with the light ball, immediately forming a terrifying energy vortex. The lake began to gradually ripple, and in the blink of an eye, the waves were rolling. Boom! The water surface suddenly exploded, water columns rose into the sky, and rain suddenly started falling all around. Lin Chuan stood with a knife in hand, letting the lake water hit him. Director Lang, let's stop here for today. Lin Chuan put the hatchet back into the storage soul guide and laughed loudly. Lang Man took a deep breath and nodded, with deep shock in his eyes. You little monster has become stronger again. You can block my fifth soul skill without using martial arts. If I hadn't experienced it myself, I would still have done it. I can't believe it. Thinking back to the fight just now, the simple but perfect sword technique was really tricky. Sometimes Lang Man even thinks that if Lin Chuan's martial spirit was not a bow but a sword, his achievements might be even higher. Who dares to believe that a soul master can burst out with such a powerful force without using a martial soul? Director Lang is so complimentary. Compared with you and Dean Shui, I'm still far behind. Hearing this, Lang Man also rolled his eyes in a rare move. I am a 76th level soul saint, but you, a 49th level soul sect, can force me to use my 5th soul skill, and we can easily draw. It's already quite terrifying, but it's a pity that weapons other than martial arts cannot be used in the continent-wide Soul Master Elite competition, otherwise. Looking at Lang Man's slightly regretful expression, Lin Chuan smiled confidently. It doesn't matter. If you don't let me use it, I won't let you use it. A bow is enough. That's right. There are still 2 years until the next Soul Master competition. With your current strength, you basically have few opponents. Coupled with your soul skills, I'm afraid it will be even more difficult. That when he mentioned this, Lang Man couldn't help but feel a little hopeful. Jianshui College may really shine this time. Lin Chuan chuckled and did not respond, but his expression was very confident. In fact, the Continental Advanced Soul Master Academy Elite competition was held as early as 3 years ago, when Lin Chuan was 9 years old. The Tiando Empire was the organizer, but Shui Lanxin seemed to pay more attention to the next one. Therefore, after discussion, Jianshui College did not send the main force to participate. Now it seems that this decision is quite wise. 2 years later, Lin Chuan may have become the Soul King or even the Soul Emperor. By then. Since we're not going to fight anymore, I'll go and urge others to practice well. Although they can't catch up with you, at least they can't be left too far behind. Lang Man left such a sentence and turned to leave. Ha ha ha. After he was left alone, Lin Chuan couldn't help but laugh heartily. Finally, human and heaven are united as one. 4 years of hard work paid off. Since the 7 members of the team could not bring him pressure, Lin Chuan asked to fight Shui Lanxin, but the latter handed the matter over to Lang Man. The Soul Saint is worthy of being a Soul Saint. Even if he does not use the martial soul body, it still brings great pressure to Lin Chuan, but even under such pressure, Lin Chuan's swordsmanship and body skills have made great progress. and now he has finally achieved a breakthrough and reached the state of unity between man and nature. What is unity between man and nature? The unity of body, mind and skills. The skills are close to the Tao, the upper body is the heart of heaven, and every move can attract the power of heaven and earth. At the same time, you can also begin to feel the nature of heaven and earth and learn the mysteries of nature. For other soul masters, this is a realm that may take decades to reach, but Lin Chuan has finally succeeded in just a few years through unremitting efforts. He flashed back to the wooden house and sat cross-legged beside the bed, almost at the moment when the swordsmanship broke through to the unity of man and nature. The golden finger that had not reacted for a long time changed after a long time. The first skill has reached the unity of man and nature, and the advanced rewards are now issued. Congratulations on obtaining Alchemy Art, Ninefold Thunder Blade / Chapter 43 Alchemy Technique, 9-Layer Thunder Blade. Please collect, recommend, and invest. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Lin Chuan sat on the bedside, his consciousness sinking into his mind. With just one glance, he was deeply attracted by the vast knowledge of alchemy's secret. It records many recipes and very detailed methods of refining medicine. Even a layman can become an alchemist with this secret book, but as he read, Lin Chuan found a problem. Alchemy first requires a medicine cauldron and fire for refining medicine. In addition, alchemy also requires great mental strength. You must concentrate on the whole process. This is a delicate job, but Lin Chuan has nothing now. Fortunately, there is a method of obtaining fire in alchemy's secret, earth fire. Some special flames bred by the earth, through special methods, absorb a trace of earth fire from the earth fire veins and breed in a dantian, whether it is used for refining medicine, refining tools, or fighting enemies. However, earth fire is rare, and most of it is born in volcanoes. Fortunately, if I can't make medicine because there is no fire, I'm afraid I won't be able to sleep tonight. Lin Chuan breathed a sigh of relief. Although the conditions are harsh, they are not impossible. Douluo continent is so large that there must be earth fire veins. It is not clear in other places, but there is one place that definitely exists. It seems that I have to leave Tianshui College for a trip. Whether it is to build a medicine cauldron or to find earth fire, it is not a one-day job. It just so happens that Lin Chuan has enough time to complete these two things before the elite competition of advanced soul masters in the whole continent begins. No, to be precise, he doesn't have much time. Lin Chuan is already 12 years old this year, which means that Tang San has also graduated from Notting College and will go to Shrek College to study next. If it is a little later, I am afraid that he will not have the yin-yang eyes of ice and fire. Let's go tomorrow. Lin Chuan's eyes tightened and he made a decision immediately. Because the conditions were not met, he could only temporarily put aside the matter of learning alchemy and began to read another secret book instead. Lin Chuan was very familiar with this secret book. It was created by the Thunder God in the devouring world. It is extremely powerful. It contains a complete set of body techniques, Lu Guang, a complete set of guiding techniques, Jiu Chong Hun Yuan, and a complete set of sword techniques, Lei Dao. The reason why this sword technique is so powerful is that it relies on a wonderful means of exerting force. Ordinary people may swing their swords with 100% force, while practitioners of the 9-layer thunder sword swing and chop with only 70% of their strength. When they exert the first level of force, they will try to make their bodies exert the second level of force again, the same 70% force. The two levels of force are superimposed, which is 140% of force. There are 9 levels of the 9-layer thunder sword. In the first level, you can release one more dark force and exert 140% of force. In the second level, you can release 2 more dark forces and exert 210% of force. In the third level, you can release 3 more dark forces and exert 280% of force. Until the 9th level, you can release 9 more dark forces and exert 70% of force, which is a full 7 times the original body strength, which is quite terrifying. If you practice it, you can burst out more powerful power and fight against other levels. Lin Chuan was directly conquered by this book 9-layer thunder blade. TSK, the thunder god who created this sword technique is really a genius. However, although it is powerful, it is also very difficult to practice. It is not as easy as imagined to superimpose dark energy. It is even difficult for ordinary people to get started. Even the first level requires a thorough understanding of the 18 moves. But fortunately, Lin Chuan has no worries in this regard. He got up and went outside, took out the hatchet from the storage soul guide, and began to practice the sword technique according to the memory in his mind. You practiced the thunder blade seriously once, and gained a little. The sword technique proficiency +1, the sword technique thunder blade proficiency +1, that I don't know if it is Lin Chuan's illusion. After breaking through the realm of unity of man and nature, he practiced other sword techniques, and even the growth of proficiency became faster, but no matter what, this is undoubtedly a good thing. Name, Lin Chuan, Soul Power, Level 49, Foring Soul Sect, Blessing, Heaven rewards hard work, blessing from the will of the Blue Star, 1 point of hard work, 1 point of harvest. Hard work will definitely be rewarded. Skills, Tianshui Meditation LV5, 3W5/10W. Skills, Archery Subtle. 9427/1W, Gunmanship Subtle, 123/1W, Swordmanship Heaven and Man are 1, 7/10W, Boxing Subtle, 762/1W, Body Skills Subtle, 9877/1W. Skills, Ability, Observation Hockey LV3, 3W8/10W, Thunderblade, Undergraduate, 1/1000. Soul Skills, First Soul Skill Explosive Arrow LV3, 2321/1W, Second Soul Skill Ice Arrow LV3, 2177/1W, Third Soul Skill Ray of Wind Arrows LV3, 987/1W, Fourth Soul Skill Thunderbolt Arrow LV2, 832/1000. Looking at the completely changed attribute panel, Lin Chuan was slightly stunned, but he adapted quickly, and now it is even simpler and clearer than before. Night fell, and the starlight was devastating, the bright moonlight sprinkled down, and the ground seemed to be covered with a layer of silver yarn. Lin Chuan held the hatchet and swung the knife again and again, with a very high frequency, and each time he used it to the limit, so under this high frequency of swinging the knife, his whole body was sweating profusely. Finally, after being exhausted, Lin Chuan chose to stop. Just as he had guessed before, the increase in proficiency has indeed become faster. If he continues like this, it won't take long for him to master the first level of Thunder Blade. I can't stop yet. This is the best time to meditate. I'll try the guiding technique by the way. I don't know if it can speed up the practice. Lin Chuan did not enter the house, but chose to sit on the ground directly. Chi. As soon as he entered the practice state, the heaven and earth energy was absorbed into his body, and the muscles all over his body, which were originally sore and weak, suddenly felt a cool breeze as if they were placed in an ice cave. You meditate once and gain a little. Your soul power is slightly improved, your physique is slightly strengthened, your Tianshui meditation proficiency +1, and your guiding technique, ninefold chaotic source, proficiency +1. Lin Chuan was stunned. The degree of absorbing the heaven and earth energy has indeed increased a lot, but what is surprising is that with the help of the ninefold chaotic source, a small part of the heaven and earth energy has actually been integrated into the body to strengthen the body. What a pleasant surprise. This is just the beginning. If you practice the ninefold thunder blade to the extreme, the improvement will be more obvious, and the soul power and the body will go hand in hand. This is really... Lin Chuan took a deep breath and was amazed. It's really great. Originally, if you want to strengthen your body, you can only use the dumbest method, but now with the ninefold chaotic source, the efficiency will undoubtedly become higher. Even if the body can only absorb a limited amount of heaven and earth energy, it is at least faster than just physical exercise. Both the alchemy art and the ninefold thunder blade were far beyond Lin Chuan's expectations, and they helped him a lot. Next, the direction of practice became clear. Chapter 44, Volcanoes, Earth Fire Lizards. Please add to favorites, recommend votes, and invest. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Early the next morning, Lin Chuan knocked on the door of the wooden house next door. You said you wanted to take a leave to go out. Shui Lanxin, who had just woke up instantly after hearing Lin Chuan's words. Yes, Dean Shui, I have some very important things to do. What's the hurry? Shui Lanxin frowned slightly, with a puzzled look on her face. If it's not an urgent matter, I can ask the family for help. Lin Chuan shook his head. No one else can help with this matter, only I can do it myself. Is that so? Shui Lanxin was very curious, but still didn't ask the bottom of it. Of course it's okay to take a leave. How long do you plan to go out? I'm not particularly clear about this, but Dean Shui, don't worry, I will definitely be back before the start of the All-Continent Advanced Soul Master Academy Elite Competition. Then how about I go with you? Shui Lanxin suggested again. Lin Chuan shook his head gently. That's not necessary. With my current strength, as long as I keep a low profile, I can protect myself. Okay, then you should be careful. At this point, Shui Lanxin could only agree. Then I'll leave first. Dean Shui, please tell Director Lang and Senior Sister Binger. Lin Chuan left this sentence, then turned around and left alone. Looking at his leaving back, Shui Lanxin sighed. I don't know what this little guy is going to do, I hope he can be safe. After buying a horse, Lin Chuan went out of the south gate of Tianshui City and ran all the way south. The most notable feature of the territory of the Tiando Empire is its flat terrain. Most of it is plains, and various roads and small roads crisscross, forming the transportation network of the Tiando Empire. In addition, the official roads are taken, so the speed of travel is quite fast. Let's go back to Caomiao village first. Since leaving the village, Lin Chuan has never been back. This time, there is a chance, and it's time to go back. Of course, more of them just happened to pass by. Before leaving Tianshui City, Lin Chuan did not forget to go to the blacksmith shop for consultation. As a result, the blacksmiths there were all ordinary people and could not make the medicine cauldron he wanted. There was no way. Lin Chuan could only choose to go to Gingxin City, as a famous metal capital and also the city where the Blacksmith Association is located. Most of the blacksmiths in Douluo continent gather here, and there may be blacksmiths who can make blacksmiths that meet the requirements. In addition, there are countless mountains in the Xinglua Empire, including many volcanoes. Lin Chuan also plans to try his luck and see if he can find the earth fire vein, so as to obtain the earth fire seeds for alchemy. In this way, time is really tight. The sound of horse hooves. After a long raid, without encountering any obstacles during the period, Lin Chuan crossed the plains and rivers and easily entered the Fastno province. Back to Caomiao village, everything has not changed much from when he left. As for Lin Chuan's return, the head of Caomiao village seemed particularly happy, especially after learning that Lin Chuan not only became a soul master, but also joined another more powerful soul master academy after graduating successfully. He kept saying ancestors bless you. After staying in Caomiao village for 3 days, Lin Chuan set off again. Before leaving, he left 100 gold soul coins at the head of the village. It was not stingy. For ordinary people, 1 gold soul coin is enough for a few months of living needs, and 100 gold soul coins are enough for most of their lives. A man is innocent, but he is guilty of holding a treasure. If there are more, it may be counterproductive. Besides, it's not like he won't come back, so there's no need to be so extreme. Continuing south from Nodding City, across the border is the Xinglua Empire, and the border with Fastno province is a kingdom called Pajila. The territory of the Pajila kingdom is not large, at most only a quarter of the size of the Barak kingdom, and it is not prosperous because it is located in a remote area, far away from the center of the continent. After buying a map of the Xinglua Empire in Pajila City, Lin Chuan successfully found the target location. Located in the southwesternmost part of the Xinglua Empire, Longyan province not only has deserts and plains, but also several mountains. Both the Drak Mountains and the Douluo Mountains have volcanoes. Because of this, the minerals here are quite rich and are also the main source of materials for Gingxin City. Lin Chuan did not rush to Gingxin City, but continued to go south along the coastline. Half a month later, the surroundings are extremely desolate, and it is easy to get lost if you are not careful. Lin Chuan, who is exhausted, leads the horse and walks in the yellow sand. After finally passing through the wilderness, he finally entered the Drak Mountains. The temperature began to rise gradually, and the skin even began to become sticky. Lin Chuan did not feel uncomfortable, but was full of joy. Finally here, that it's worth his time sleeping in the open air. There are volcanic groups in the Drak Mountains. Even if one of the volcanoes does not have a ground fire vein, he can still go to other volcanoes to look for it. Anyway, Lin Chuan doesn't believe that his luck can be so bad. The mountain road was not suitable for horses to walk on, so Lin Chuan released the horse he bought, as a thank you for carrying him for so long. As for whether it could survive, it depended on its own luck. Entering the mountain range, Lin Chuan began to search one by one. The first two volcanoes did not find the earth fire veins, but Lin Chuan was not discouraged. Such magical natural power needs to be naturally contained in the earth, so it is naturally rare, not to mention that this is the Douluo continent, which is known as the fantasy basement. In the process of searching, Lin Chuan did not forget to practice, so he would not waste time, but as he had been to most of the volcanoes and still had not found the existence of the earth fire vein, Lin Chuan's optimistic mentality gradually changed slightly. Could it be that I was really unlucky? Or did I set the flag too early before? There is only one volcano left. If there is no more, I can only pin my hopes on the yin-yang eye of ice and fire. Don't let me make a wasted trip. Entering from the cave on the hillside, Lin Chuan entered the belly of the mountain. The belly of the mountain is quite secretive. The winding passage does not know where it leads to, but it is obvious that the temperature inside is obviously higher than outside. Lin Chuan moved his body and rushed directly along the winding cave entrance to the lower part. I don't know how long he walked. A monstrous roar sounded, which seemed to come from deeper in the belly of the mountain. Lin Chuan's eyes slightly raised, and his pace inevitably quickened. Finally, he reached the end. He looked out and found that he had arrived in the valley. The mountain range he had passed before seemed to be the outer shell of the volcano, and the real crater was on the volcanic cone further ahead in the valley. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, a low muffled sound rang out, echoing throughout the valley, and then dense and fragmented sounds also rang out. This is the earth fire lizard. Lin Chuan recognized these soul beasts at a glance. Chapter 45 Mutated Earth Fire Dragon and Earth Fire Vein. Please collect, recommend, and invest. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Earth fire lizards, fire-attributed soul beasts, are social creatures. They usually live together in groups of 20 or 30. They have extremely strong defense and usually live near volcanoes. They have fire-attributed abilities. It is said that earth fire lizards that have practiced for more than 10,000 years can evolve into earth fire dragons. They are quite powerful soul beasts. The densely packed area in the valley is simply a blessing for people with trypophobia. So many earth fire lizards. It was not so exaggerated before. Lin Chuan frowned slightly, obviously a little surprised. Before he could think more, the earth fire lizard seemed to be crazy and began to rush in all directions. Huh. There are two big guys. In such a chaotic scene, Lin Chuan raised his eyebrows and looked behind the group of earth fire lizards, where there were two very powerful auras. The next moment, the ground cracked instantly. Two huge figures walked out of the stone cave one after another. Every step they took would make a huge sound, and the footsteps were quite heavy. This is Earth Fire Dragon. Lin Chuan silently looked at the two huge soul beasts and made a guess in his heart. One of them was at least 10 feet tall, with a huge tail dragging behind it, its body standing upright, and a pair of wings behind it, but the wings were too small to support it to fly. The other one looked similar to the earth fire lizard, but it was larger and covered with scales all over its body. The space around them was also obviously distorted, and you can imagine how high the temperature was. Both soul beasts are at least 10,000 years old. Roar! The two giant soul beasts roared at each other, and then they wrestled with each other. The rest of the earth fire lizards didn't dare to get too close, for fear of being affected, and all ran dozens of feet away, revealing human fear in their not-so-big eyes. So they are fighting for the boss. Lin Chuan was a little stunned. Although the two guys in front of him have different appearances, they are similar to the earth fire lizard. It is obvious that they are evolved from the earth fire lizard, but one of them evolved normally into the earth fire dragon, and the other one has undergone some mutations for some reason. Lin Chuan hid behind a big rock and watched the battle silently. It should be said that it is worthy of being a 10,000-year soul beast. When they fight, it is so earth-shaking. Even though they are so far away, they can clearly feel the ground shaking violently. If this goes on, will the volcano erupt? Hiss. Just when Lin Chuan was worried, a roar suddenly came from his ear. Looking back, I don't know when, a earth-fire lizard touched his side, tilting its head, showing a very wise look. One person and one soul beast just stared at each other in the air. Lin Chuan was the first to react, and punched the earth-fire lizard on the forehead. The little guy didn't even have time to scream before he was knocked unconscious. It was a close call. I was almost discovered. I was too careless. That I was so focused on the battle between the two 10,000-year soul beasts that I didn't notice anything approaching. Lin Chuan wiped off his sweat and looked again. The battle was almost over. The 10,000-year Earth-Fire Dragon was no match for the mutant Earth-Fire Dragon. After only leaving a few scars on the opponent, it was completely defeated. Roar! That the 10,000-year Earth-Fire Dragon looked unwilling, but still lowered its head and crawled on the ground to show its submission. The mutant Earth-Fire Dragon roared to the sky, as if to declare its sovereignty, and then all the Earth-Fire Lizards were seen crawling on the ground like the 10,000-year Earth-Fire Dragon. It's really spectacular. While sighing, the Earth-Fire Lizard started to move again. The Earth-Fire Dragon and the Earth-Fire Lizards were driven to the other half, while the mutant Earth-Fire Dragon turned around and returned to the smallest cave alone. Seeing this scene, Lin Chuan narrowed his eyes immediately. There is something fishy. The mutant Earth-Fire Dragon had obviously just broken through the 10,000-year cultivation level and had a battle with the Earth-Fire Dragon. However, after winning, it did not choose the largest cave as its residence, but chose the smallest one, which was obviously not in line with common sense. So there must be something in that cave. Lin Chuan's heart moved, avoiding the gaze of the Earth-Fire Lizards, and moved towards the cave. He did not spend this period of time in vain. Even though he was on the road most of the time, his cultivation had not fallen behind, and the ninefold Thunder Blade had successfully entered the first level. Applying the power to the feat, the speed became faster. Even the 10,000-year Earth-Fire Dragon did not notice it while dodging. Under the perception of the observation hockey, the breath in the cave has gradually stabilized. Obviously, the mutant Earth-Fire Dragon seems to have fallen into a deep sleep. Although it won, it was also seriously injured and needed to sleep to recover. He flashed into the cave, and as he went deeper, the huge figure of the mutant Earth-Fire Dragon came into view. At this time, the big guy was lying on the ground with his eyes closed. Seeing this, Lin Chuan heaved a sigh of relief. His actions were still too bold. If he was really discovered, he might have to face the siege of hundreds of soul beasts. Fortunately, the situation has been smooth so far. Carefully, he began to explore the cave. Soon, Lin Chuan felt more and more hot. With his eyes slightly raised, he continued to move forward along the temperature and gradually found that there was a faint golden flame in the cracks in the ground in the distance. The flame was hot and burning. Earth-Fire Vein. Lin Chuan's eyes widened instantly, and he was ecstatic. After searching for so long, he finally found it. After searching for so long in this volcanic group, he finally found it. According to the records in Alchemy Secret, it is mixed with a little gold, pure and dazzling, and grows on the edge of magma, so it is called Golden Flame Earth Fire. This kind of earth fire is known for its fiery heat and is an excellent earth fire. In short, this time is really the right time. It is worth it for him to cross most of the Douluo continent and run from Tianshui City in the Tiando Empire to the southwest of the Xinglua Empire. I don't know if it's because of the different worlds. The earth fire in front of me seems to be much weaker than the records, but because of this, Lin Chuan doesn't have to worry about failure. It can only be said that misfortune is the source of blessing, and blessing is the source of misfortune. It will take at least one day to collect the seeds of earth fire. It seems that we need to take some protective measures before we start. Lin Chuan did not rush to start, but took out the hatchet and walked towards the mutant earth fire dragon. Ninefold Thunder Blade. Lin Chuan's speed suddenly soared, and he took 4 strange steps and approached in an instant. The hatchet in his hand turned into a circular arc of cold light and chopped heavily on the head of the mutant fire dragon. The sudden crisis made the mutant fire dragon wake up directly, but it had no time to react. The powerful force spread, and the scales on the top of the head cracked, and even the skull had some fractures, and it was knocked unconscious again. The mutant fire dragon was completely stunned. Sure enough, even if the ordinary hatchet has been refined once, it can't keep up. It seems that it's time to eliminate it. Lin Chuan looked at the hatchet in his hand and couldn't help sighing. Add a few layers of insurance. Looking at the mutant fire dragon that had fainted, Lin Chuan summoned his martial soul, first using the thunder arrow to aggravate the mutant fire dragon's injuries, and then freezing it with the ice arrow, the fainted mutant fire dragon, you old six. After doing all this, Lin Chuan clapped his hands with satisfaction. That's all right. The next step is to collect seeds. Chapter 46, Collecting Earth Fire. Please collect, recommend, and invest. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. After getting ready, Lin Chuan sat down cross-legged. According to the method recorded in the alchemy art, when you open your mouth, a trace of golden flame and earth fire will be directly sucked into the body under the coercion of the soul power. Violent flames burst out within the body, but were quickly suppressed. Lin Chuan didn't know exactly which world this alchemy art came from, but the various techniques contained in it were quite clever, especially the fire control, which was eye-opening. Therefore, collecting fire was also quite smoothly. During this process, Lin Chuan did not shut down his six senses, but focused a little on his surroundings to prevent him from being disturbed by special circumstances in the outside world. But fortunately, things went smoother than expected. It seems that because of the fear of the mutated fire dragon, no soul beast dares to enter the cave. In addition, the mutated fire dragon has already passed out, so no one can disturb him. Traces of earthly fire continue to pour in from Lin Chuan's mouth and enter his dantian. The cluster of fires became more and more numerous, bigger and brighter. The day passed in the blink of an eye. Finally, enough is enough. Ning. Lin Chuan pinched different seals in his hands, and the fire in his dantian instantly burst into golden light, and even faint lines appeared in the flames. Laugh. A tiny golden flame grew out, suspended in the dantian, swaying and flashing with brilliance. It's done. Lin Chuan opened his eyes, showing a hint of joy. It really takes no effort at all. With a thought, a wisp of golden flame instantly appeared on the fingertips, flickering slightly. Almost at the moment when the wisp of flame appeared, the temperature also increased significantly, but Lin Chuan did not feel any discomfort. This is earth fire, it's really good. Lin Chuan grinned, finally meeting the prerequisites for alchemy. However, because the golden flame earth fire has just taken shape and is still relatively weak, it is not suitable for use in elixir making and needs to be warmed for a period of time. If I had to say it, the golden flames and earthly fire in Lin Chuan's body were not yet at the highest level. I don't know if earth fire can be used to refine spirits, but no matter what, it should be more powerful than ordinary fire. Let's try it after the temperature is restored. Lin Chuan waved his hand, took back the ground fire, and slowly stood up, turning to look at the mutated earth fire dragon. Half of the ice crystals on its body had melted away, but there was still some remaining, and it was still in a coma. It seems that this earth fire dragon mutated because of its earth fire veins. Seeing this, Lin Chuan immediately nodded with satisfaction. After the spirit is refined, the power of the martial spirit has become significantly greater. Even near a volcano, the ice crystals formed by the ice arrows will not melt for a long time. Therefore, even if the soul skill does not increase soul power, its power is still terrifying. It's time to leave. Now that the earth fire has been obtained, there is no need to stay any longer. The force of the 9-level thunder blade was applied to his feet, and Lin Chuan instantly turned into an afterimage, disappeared into the cave, and rushed towards the path he came from. Hiss. Sudden changes caused many salamanders to fall into turmoil. At this moment, a huge fireball suddenly flew out of the huge cave, dragging a long tail flame like a meteor at an extremely fast speed. Well done, the first soul skill, exploding arrow. Lin Chuan smiled, and a ray of fire flew out from his fingertips and collided directly with the fireball. Boom. Fire shot up into the sky, and the impact caused by the explosion destroyed everything around it. A large number of salamanders were directly thrown away and hit the ground and rock walls heavily. The view was obscured by the billowing smoke. By the time the 10,000 years fire dragon rushed out of the cave, Lin Chuan had already disappeared without a trace. Roar. The 10,000 years fire dragon let out a roar. The sound was so loud that it resounded throughout the entire valley, but it could only be said to be powerless and furious. Gingxin City is also located within the Star Luo Empire, close to the inland, and on Lin Chuan's path back to the Tiando Empire. but as one of the main cities of the Star Luo Empire, Gingxin City is not a famous city. Among the main cities, it belongs to the middle and lower reaches. In this world dominated by soul masters, it is not taken seriously. After leaving the volcano group, Lin Chuan hurried on at full speed, looking from a distance. Gingxin City is already close at hand. The entire main city is iron gray, giving the impression that it is made of metal. Even before entering the city, you can faintly smell the unique metallic smell. It's finally here, don't let me down. Lin Chuan lowered his head and stepped into Gingxin City. As soon as I entered the city gate, I was greeted by a lively atmosphere, which is a special feature that is different from other cities. There are shops on both sides of the street, but the most numerous ones are the blacksmith shops. There are too many to count. You can see all kinds of weapons, armors, etc. placed on the shelves everywhere. For a moment, Lin Chuan was also a little dazzled. Take a look. The silver armor made by a senior blacksmith has excellent protective power. It is definitely the best choice for body protection. Don't miss it when you're passing by. The fine iron daggers are on sale at a cheap price. Treat your equipment like you would your lover. Good guy. Lin Chuan subconsciously looked to the left, and then breathed a sigh of relief. When he heard those words just now, he thought that Linus had also traveled through time, but it turned out that was not the case. Maybe he was also a guy who was crazy about blacksmithing. After glancing at the surrounding blacksmith shops, Lin Chuan did not rush into them, but walked towards the central area of Gingxin City while observing the surroundings. Not long after, they stopped in front of a tall building. Looking up, a dark iron plaque hung above the head. There were no words on it, only two raised images of a hammer and a chisel. Fortunately, it's a chisel and not a sickle. Lin Chuan murmured in a low voice and walked into the Blacksmith Association. All three doors were open, and there was an endless stream of people coming and going. The lobby on the first floor was a bit noisy, and was mainly used for trading. Lin Chuan simply walked around and saw many finished products for sale made by different blacksmiths, as well as many common metals. Lin Chuan also found a few medicine cauldrons in the finished product area. Hello, can you take out those cauldrons and let me have a look? Calling a staff member, Lin Chuan pointed to the medicine cauldron inside the counter and stated his needs. Okay, just a second. The staff responded with a smile, and then moved out several medicine cauldrons one after another. Lin Chuan slowly squatted down and inspected it carefully. Will not work. He stood up and shook his head slightly, then looked at the staff again. Are there any other tripods here? These are all put on consignment by the blacksmiths here, and there are only a few of them for now. However, if you are not satisfied as a customer, you can also go to the high-end trading area on the second floor and the auction area on the fourth floor, where the finished products will be even more beautiful. Rich, you will definitely be satisfied. Is that so? Okay then. Lin Chuan could only nod and walk towards the side stairs. There were two guards at the entrance of the stairs, but after Lin Chuan explained his intention and took out a soul coin card containing 100,000 gold soul coins, he successfully climbed the stairs and entered the second floor. Chapter 47. Return with a full load. Please add to favorites, recommend votes, and invest. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Compared to the first floor, the second floor is much quieter. 2 rows of shops are separated and arranged in an orderly manner on both sides. There is also a passage about 2 meters wide in the middle. After a rough count, there are at least hundreds of shops. The high-end trading area is indeed different from the ordinary trading area. After a quick tour, Lin Chuan did not go to the metal area, but focused on the finished product area. The quality of the goods sold here is indeed much better than that on the first floor. As he walked, he suddenly stopped in front of a shop. What do you want, brother? The old man who was guarding the shop suddenly grinned and chuckled. Lin Chuan pointed to the medicine cauldron in the shop. Can you show me that cauldron? Of course, no problem. The old man was not vague. He lifted the medicine cauldron with one hand and placed it steadily in front of Lin Chuan. He did not look strong, but he contained unimaginable power. Lin Chuan held the cauldron ear with one hand and began to examine it carefully. After a moment, he slowly withdrew his hand, with a calm expression on the surface, but he was happy in his heart. Finally, he found a good medicine cauldron. Although it is not particularly excellent, it is more than enough for beginners to practice with. At least it can be used for a long time. Old man, how much is this cauldron? Brother, you have a good eye. This is the best cauldron in our store. Not only that, it is made by the master blacksmith. You only need 3,000 gold soul coins to take it away. Lin Chuan frowned slightly. He didn't know much about the price of ironware, but this price was not unacceptable. For him, the medicine cauldron in front of him met the requirements and the price was not too high. It can be used for a long time to refine pills, so it is not a loss. Okay, I want this cauldron. Brother is really straightforward. Do you need anything else? There are many good things in my store that will definitely satisfy you. The old man smiled and tried his best to sell. Lin Chuan was going to refuse, but he suddenly saw several long knives in his peripheral vision. The words of refusal stopped at his lips instantly. One of the knives attracted him deeply. The knife was about 3 feet long, with a simple and straight appearance, without too many patterns on it. If you hold the handle with one hand, there is probably still some left. How much is this knife? Lin Chuan pointed at the knife and asked. Brother, you have good taste. This is almost the best knife in my store. It was made by a master blacksmith. The name of the knife is Night Shadow. It is made of black iron. The whole knife is 3 feet and 2 inches long, the blade is 2 feet and 5 inches long, and weighs 81 pounds. It can cut hair and iron like mud. It can be said to be a rare sharp blade. The old man was flushed and talked freely, and he almost blew flowers out of this knife. Lin Chuan frowned slightly, and said impatiently, just tell me how much it costs. The Night Shadow blade is priced at 50,000 gold soul coins. Can you take it down so I can see it? Of course. The old man took the Night Shadow blade off the weapon rack and handed it to Lin Chuan. The handle was not heavy, and he waved it gently, bringing a gust of wind. With Lin Chuan's current strength, it was more than enough to control this knife. With a thought, a hatchet appeared in his left hand. Can I try this knife? Lin Chuan raised the Night Shadow blade, but did not rush to chop it down, but turned to look at the old man. He did not change his expression, and nodded confidently. Of course, all the products in the store are certified by the association. If there are any fakes, I will not charge a penny. Then I'm relieved. After saying that, Lin Chuan chopped it down without hesitation. With a clang, the hatchet in his left hand broke into 2 pieces almost without any obstruction. On the other hand, the Night Shadow in his right hand was still intact, and there was not even a trace of the blade. Lin Chuan tried to inject soul power into it, and the blade flickered slightly. The whole process was extremely smooth. It is indeed a good knife. I want it. Give me a scabbard. No problem. The old man seemed very happy to complete a big order and agreed happily. Lin Chuan was not vague. He took out the soul coin card to pay. He was not short of money. In addition, Shui Lanxin had given him a little before leaving Tianshui College. He would not feel bad. On the contrary, he was lucky to buy the medicine cauldron and this knife. It is worthy of being the Metal City. He did not disappoint him. After paying the money and delivering the goods, he put the medicine cauldron and the Night Shadow knife back into the storage soul guide, turned around and left the Blacksmith Association, and found a hotel in Gingxin City to stay. Everything is ready. All that is left is to wait for the golden flame to be warmed up before the alchemy can be officially started. Lin Chuan suddenly became impatient. No words were spoken all night. The next morning, Gingxin City woke up again, and various sounds gradually rang out on the streets. In the hotel, Lin Chuan sat cross-legged on the bed with his eyes closed. You meditate seriously. If you gain something, your physical strength will be slightly improved, your soul power will be slightly increased, your Tianshui meditation proficiency +1, and your guiding technique, 9-fold chaotic source, proficiency +1. Om. A crisp sound suddenly came from his body, and Lin Chuan suddenly opened his eyes with a happy face. My soul power has broken through to level 50. After coming out for a few months, he still did not forget to practice even if he was sleeping in the open air. The harvest was naturally very gratifying. Now he only needs a soul ring to officially break through to the Soul King. The plan has changed. It seems that I have to go to the Xingdou Great Forest first, but soon, Lin Chuan suddenly shook his head. His fourth soul skill comes from a 10,000-year soul beast. Next, he will definitely look for a 10,000-year soul beast. He can defeat it, but the problem is that the Xingdou Great Forest is very dangerous, especially the area where the 10,000-year soul beast is active. Other soul beasts often appear. If they are disturbed during the absorption process, it will be troublesome. Even Lin Chuan dare not be arrogant. At least he needs someone to help protect him. After thinking about it, he can only go back to Tianshui College and ask Shui Lanxin for help. By the way, he can also ask Shui Lanxin to help collect a batch of medicinal materials. Anyway, he has such a deep connection with Tianshui College, so Lin Chuan will not be polite. He got up and washed up, checked out of the room, and set off. He returned to Tianshui College in a dusty manner. He felt as if he was in another world. I don't know if it's because I stayed in Tianshui College for too long. I really miss it. Xiao Chuan, you are finally back. Shui Lanxin came to the door just after I returned to the wooden house. The mature and beautiful woman's eyes swept back and forth over Lin Chuan. After seeing that the boy was just a little dirty and there was no other abnormality, she breathed a sigh of relief. God knows how worried she was during this period of time. Is the matter done? Yes, Lin Chuan nodded gently. The situation is much smoother than I thought, so I came back so soon. Hearing this, Shui Lanxin smiled. Then you won't leave the academy for the time being? I'm afraid it won't work. I'm lucky. My soul power has just broken through. I need a soul ring. Chapter 48. Something is wrong. Please collect, recommend, and invest. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Your soul power has broken through level 50. Shui Lanxin was shocked, and then her beautiful eyes lit up. Lin Chuan nodded gently. Hiss, you little guy, you are really abnormal. Shui Lanxin took a breath and couldn't help complaining, it's simply exaggerated. At this speed, the record of the youngest title Douluo in Douluo continent will be broken soon. I will arrange people now, but you just came back today, and you are tired from the journey. Why don't you rest in the academy for a night and set off tomorrow? Shui Lanxin suppressed the surprise in her heart and made a suggestion softly. Lin Chuan naturally had no objection and nodded in agreement. Well, Xiao Chuan, take a rest first. I will arrange the soul hunting team now, and set off early tomorrow morning. I promise to help you get a suitable soul ring. Watching Shui Lanxin go away, Lin Chuan's eyes flickered slightly. It must be said that since joining Tianshui College, Shui Lanxin has been very good to him, almost doing everything she can to train him. Even as the person involved, she is still surprised by this strength. It is rare to train an outsider so generously, but correspondingly, Shui Lanxin's behavior will undoubtedly face pressure from the family. When Lin Chuan was chatting with Shui Yuer before, he heard a lot of complaints from the Shui family about Shui Lanxin, fearing that it would be a waste of effort. You can't just take it, you should also give a little return. After this soul hunting is over, you can almost start refining pills. By then, the Shui family will not be able to point fingers at Shui Lanxin's behavior. Lin Chuan retracted his gaze, took off his clothes and jumped into the lake, and simply washed off the dust on his body. Back to the wooden house, sit cross-legged, and continue to warm the golden flame earth fire in the dantian according to the method recorded in the Alchemy Ju. You carefully warmed the earth fire once, and gained a little. The quality of the golden flame earth fire has been slightly improved. Inside the dantian, the golden flames flickered with golden light, and grew visibly. The next day, Shui Lanxin came out early, and there were two figures standing beside her. One was Lang Man, the dean of teaching who was very familiar with Lin Chuan, and the other was a voluptuous figure, who was also a rare beauty in terms of appearance. However, compared with Shui Lanxin and Lang Man, she was still slightly inferior. Xiao Chuan, let me introduce you. This is Teacher Qin Shan, a level 63 soul emperor, with the spirit of Narcissus, a healing soul master, and she will go to the Star Do Great Forest with us this time. Hello, Teacher Qin, I'll trouble you next. Lin Chuan bowed slightly and greeted him very politely. Qin Shan nodded with a smile. You must be Lin Chuan, right? I've heard Dean Shui and Director Ling talk about you a long time ago. I didn't expect you to be a handsome boy. But don't be polite, leave the treatment to me this time. Let's go. Lang Man suddenly spoke, her voice was cold and stiff, and the others nodded. A carriage quickly left Tianshui College. The configuration of the carriage was not luxurious, but it was also not simple. The horses pulling it were not ordinary horses, but the hybrid offspring of a horse-like soul beast and an ordinary horse, named Lingfeng horse. Because it was raised by humans, it was not as irritable as a soul beast, and its speed was faster than ordinary horses. It was considered a very high-quality means of transportation. The carriage pulled by the Lingfeng horse was also made of high-quality materials, with excellent stability. Even at a high speed, it would not be too bumpy. In the carriage, Lin Chuan was surrounded by 3 beautiful women in the center, and the space was filled with a faint fragrance. Logically speaking, among the 3 girls, Qin Shan is undoubtedly the youngest, but she is at least in her 30s, while Shui Lanxin and Leng Man are in their early 40s, but they look like they are in their 30s. It seems that time has left no trace on them, even their skin is unusually tender and shiny. Lin Chuan sat in the middle, smelling the different body fragrance, and didn't even dare to take a deep breath. Xiao Chuan, what did you do before you left the college? After leaving Tianshui College for such a long time, Shui Lanxin couldn't help her inner curiosity and asked curiously. Leng Man and Qin Shan on the side also looked over at the same time. Well, I just went back to the village, and then went to Gingxin City in Xinglua Empire to buy some things, and then I came back directly. That's all. Shui Lanxin raised her willow leaf eyebrows slightly, with a puzzled look. If you really want something, you can tell me. I can ask the family to help you keep an eye out. Why do you need to make a special trip? Thank you for your kindness, Dean, but there are some things that only I can recognize. Leng Man stared at Lin Chuan and suddenly interrupted. It should be more than just buying some things, right? Lin Chuan raised his eyebrows slightly, but did not deny it. Director Ling guessed correctly, but please allow me to keep it a secret for the time being as to what I did. Anyway, the harvest is not bad. You will know later, and I will definitely not let you down. Hearing this, Shui Lanxin glared at Lin Chuan unhappily. You are young, but you have learned to keep it a secret. Xiao Chuan, you are really a bad boy. Such an interaction made Qin Shan's eyes widen suddenly. She would never have thought that the dean and the head teacher, who usually looked very serious, would be so approachable in front of a teenager, even a little. How should I put it? Showing the attitude of a little girl. Qin Shan shuddered suddenly, startling herself, and quickly threw out such a ridiculous idea. It must be an illusion. How is it possible? Shui Lanxin and Leng Man didn't know what Qin Shan was thinking, but Lin Chuan showed a strange expression and looked at Qin Shan with some doubt. This beautiful teacher seemed to be thinking about something incredible just now. Lin Chuan, have you decided which soul beast to get the 5th soul ring from? Leng Man asked again. Lin Chuan almost didn't hesitate. Light attribute or gold attribute soul beast is fine. As for the age, about 20,000 years. 20,000 years. That's already exceeded the absorption age of level 50, right? Qin Shan was shocked and shouted subconsciously. She knew very well that Lin Chuan was a genius, or the teachers of the entire Tianshui College knew that a genius boy had come to the college, and Shui Lanxin had roughly understood the situation when she came to her before. Qin Shan originally thought that a soul king of 12 or 13 years old was already quite exaggerated, but he actually had to absorb a 20,000-year soul ring, which was simply outrageous. Dean. Qin Shan's face was serious, and she turned to look at Shui Lanxin. I know. Shui Lanxin was not surprised, and nodded slightly and looked at Qin Shan. Teacher Qin, the matter about Xiao Chuan is the top secret of the college. His 4th ring has reached 10,000 years, so 20,000 years is not dangerous for him. But I hope you can keep this news for the time being, at least don't reveal it before the competition. Hiss. Qin Shan opened her red lips slightly, took a breath, and her eyes were full of disbelief. The 4th soul ring is 10,000 years, which is simply outrageous. No, it should be a pervert. But with such a pervert, Tianshui College will undoubtedly get better and better, and as a teacher of Tianshui College, her prospects will naturally be better. Thinking of this, Qin Shan couldn't help but look forward to it. The second round of recommendations didn't come, it seems to be G, which is a bit of a pity, but I still thank the readers for their support and continue to be honest and reckless. Chapter 49, Fierce Fight in the Forest. Please add to favorites, recommend, and invest. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xingdou Great Forest, a handsome, tall and strong young man wearing a light blue suit and a bamboo hat hanging on his back was walking through the dense forest. Behind him were three mature and beautiful women wearing blue and white long skirts. The three beautiful women looked about 30 years old, with cold and beautiful faces, fair and moist skin, tall figures, and beautiful figures that were also highlighted by the dresses, showing their fiery and arrogant temperament, forming a great contrast. It was Lin Chuan and his group. Time passed quickly, and the boy who was only 12 or 13 years old now had grown into an adult, and even his height had jumped to about 1.8 meters. It should be said that it was worthy of being the Douluo continent, and the growth speed was indeed quite outrageous. Be careful next. Not far ahead is the mixed area of the Star Do Great Forest. There are 1,000-year soul beasts and 10,000-year soul beasts mixed together. Always pay attention to the surroundings. Leng Man, you are responsible for protecting teacher Qin Shan. Our purpose this time is to avoid fighting as much as possible. If you encounter a soul beast actively attacking, get out of the battle and leave as soon as possible. Shui Lanxin stood at the front of the team with a slightly serious expression. Even Soul Douluo dare not take it lightly in the Star Do Great Forest. After all, this is the home ground of soul beasts, not to mention that soul beasts are undoubtedly superior in fighting at the same level. The innate physical strength of soul beasts is enough to give soul masters a headache. The other three nodded gently. Lin Chuan and Qin Shan stayed in the center of the team, and Leng Man was responsible for the rear. In fact, Lin Chuan would be careful without Shui Lanxin's reminder. As early as the moment he entered the Star Do Great Forest, his observation hotkey had been released, alerting everything around him. As long as he didn't fight, it would not be a big burden for him to just use it to detect the surrounding atmosphere. On the surface, there are 100,000-year-old soul beasts in the Xingdou Great Forest, but Lin Chuan knows very well that in the core area, there are many fierce beasts led by the Silver Dragon King. Even if those monsters will not appear rashly, it is better to be cautious anyway. As we go deeper, the powerful auras around us become more and more. Bang, bang, bang. Suddenly, there was a strange sound in the distance, and the ground began to tremble slightly. Someone is fighting in front. Shui Lanxin stopped immediately, and her expression gradually became solemn. Even though the distance was so far, the exaggerated soul power fluctuations still made her feel frightened. Obviously, the two sides in the battle were not simple. Let's stay away from this area to avoid being injured by mistake. Shui Lanxin chose to stay away immediately, which was undoubtedly the wisest solution. However, Lin Chuan's observation color domineering caught the battle situation in the distance, especially the three familiar auras, which made him recognize them instantly: Xiao Wu, Titan Giant Ape, and Tang Dachui Tang Hao. No wonder the battle fluctuations are so terrifying. A battle at the level of Title Douluo. That means that the people from Shrek Academy should also be in the Star Do Great Forest. Lin Chuan realized this instantly. If it wasn't for escorting Tang San, Tang Hao would naturally not appear in such a place. I think it must be because he happened to meet Xiao Wu that Tang Hao chose to take action. Unfortunately, this place is Xiao Wu's home court. With the protection of the Titan Giant Ape, it is not so easy to take down the 100,000-year-old rabbit. I just don't know how Xiao Wu was discovered. Could it be that she was bored and wandered around in the Star Do Great Forest, and happened to be met? Lin Chuan looked strange and nodded in agreement. If it was Xiao Wu, this is really possible. Xiao Chuan, stop being in a daze, hurry up. Seeing that Lin Chuan was a little distracted, Shui Lanxin hurriedly urged him. However, before the few people could move, the trees not far away were cut off, weeds flew everywhere, and the terrible soul power fluctuations were approaching quickly, as if the ground was lifted up. Not good. Everyone's face instantly became ugly. At the same time, Tang Hao, wearing a hood, held the clear sky hammer and clashed with the Titan ape. The terrible soul power fluctuations swept in all directions. With the two as the center, the impact destroyed everything around. Two figures flew out of the smoke and dust, and their feet left deep marks on the ground. Damn, where did this Titan ape come from? Tang Hao held the clear sky hammer in his hand, staring at the mountain-sized gorilla not far away, with an unusually gloomy expression. Because of carelessness at the beginning, Xiao Wu escaped quietly. Even if he followed the martial soul certificate left by Xiao Wu when she entered Nodding College and found the village where she awakened her martial soul, he still got nothing. Originally, Tang Hao had planned to give up temporarily, but he didn't expect that he would meet her by chance in the Star Do Great Forest a few years later. In this case, Tang Hao naturally didn't intend to miss this good opportunity. Even if Tang San is only level 30 now, he can keep Xiao Wu in captivity first and kill her when her soul power reaches level 90. Who would have thought that a 100,000-year-old Titan ape would appear halfway, as expected of the king of the forest? He is really difficult to deal with. If Tang Hao's soul power had not reached level 95, and if he had not had a powerful martial soul like the clear sky hammer, he might not be his opponent. However, Tang Hao's old injury had not healed after all, so he naturally could not do anything to the Titan giant ape. If he ignored it and burst out with all his strength, he could certainly take it down, but he would definitely be seriously injured, and then he would be a waste of money. It's a pity, I can only leave first. After a brief thought, Tang Hao wanted to retreat. Roar. However, at this moment, the Titan ape suddenly roared to the sky, revealing a faint joy in his roar. Huh? Tang Hao looked puzzled, but his mental power suddenly caught something rushing towards him from a distance, and his face changed instantly. Not good, the Titan ape is calling for help. Tang Hao didn't have time to think about it, and quickly turned around and ran away. Roar. However, how could the Titan ape let him leave so easily? He roared suddenly, and his mountain-like body suddenly burst into yellow light, covering Tang Hao directly. Tang Hao's movement suddenly sank, and he felt as if his body was in the mud, extremely heavy. This is Gravity Field, 7th Soul Skill Haotian True Body. The 7th Soul Ring flashed, and the huge black Haotian hammer behind Tang Hao suddenly bloomed, and the strong black light surged. The huge Haotian hammer was unfurled in the wind, and it was instantly 30 feet away. The huge hammer head was like a small mountain, which also instantly reduced his pressure. Human, die. At this moment, a dull roar suddenly came from a distance. A huge shadow appeared faintly among the tall trees, but the terrifying soul power fluctuations came first, and a green light instantly came in front of Tang Hao. Sky Blue Bull Python. Tang Hao's face changed, not daring to be careless, and red light appeared on his body. The killing god domain is open. The huge Haotian hammer smashed down and collided with the green light. While resisting the blow, it also used its power to escape into the distance. Second brother, kill him. The Sky Blue Bull Python spoke in human language, and its cold eyes were like a sharp sword towards the fleeing Tang Hao. Its huge body moved instantly and chased after it at a speed that was inconsistent with its size. The Titan giant ape roared, and its powerful hind legs helped its body bounce up instantly, and it also chased after it. Chapter 50. I will remember this grudge. Please collect, recommend, and invest. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 100,000-year-old Titan giant ape, 100,000-year-old azure bull python, and 100,000-year-old soft bone rabbit in human form. There are really hidden dragons and crouching tigers in the Star Do Great Forest. Tang Hao was surprised, but his steps did not stop. Both the Titan giant ape and azure bull python are not ordinary soul beasts. Now their cultivation has reached 100,000 years. Ordinary title Douluo may not be their opponents at all, not to mention the two of them joining forces. Tang Hao can only temporarily avoid their edge. Ahem. While walking, Tang Hao coughed violently a few times, and a trace of blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. Although it was just a short fight just now, the process was extremely dangerous, so that the old injuries in the body were affected, and the chest felt hot and painful. However, not far behind him, the rapid sound of breaking wind did not go away. Still chasing. Are these two beasts crazy? Tang Hao's face was ashen, and he knew that this would not work. He must get rid of the pursuit of the 200,000-year soul beasts as soon as possible, and then find a place to suppress the injuries in his body, otherwise, if the injury worsens, I'm afraid I won't be able to attack for a long time. While rushing quickly, the mental power captured several soul power fluctuations. If there are others, then use you to get rid of these two beasts, that with almost no hesitation, Tang Hao rushed in the direction he sensed. In a few breaths, a man and 3 women appeared in his sight. Go! Seeing a figure rushing towards them, Shui Lanxin looked angry. She didn't know what this stranger who suddenly appeared was going to do, so she quickly summoned her martial soul. 7th Soul Skill, Martial Soul True Body Condensed Water Flying Yuan, that the 7th soul ring on Shui Lanxin's body suddenly burst into a deep black color, and the strong black light instantly spread throughout her body. Her voluptuous body also began to undergo tremendous changes. In the blink of an eye, the human form faded and turned into a real phoenix, the blue light bloomed, and the temperature around it dropped rapidly. At the same time, he grabbed Lin Chuan and the other 2 and planned to escape. Stay for the time being. Tang Hao snorted lightly, and the Haotian hammer in his hand smashed down towards the condensed water flying Yuan with all his strength. A flash of anger flashed across Shui Lanxin's eyes, and the 8th soul ring suddenly lit up. The sky darkened instantly, accompanied by a terrible storm. Snow and wind fell all over the sky, freezing everything around. Humph, stubborn, Tang Hao snorted coldly, and a red light burst out from his body. The killing god domain instantly enveloped everyone, blocking the blizzard outside, but the power of the clear sky hammer remained undiminished. Seeing the attack coming, Shui Lanxin quickly turned her body, exposing her back, and protecting the others in front of her. Bang! The clear sky hammer fell, and blood spurted out of the phoenix's mouth, falling to the ground like a kite without a line. However, at this critical moment, a white light suddenly flashed. Ninefold Thunder Blade, die! Lin Chuan held the night shadow in his hand, and silver light burst out from the blade. So fast! Tang Hao was shocked and quickly pulled away to dodge, but he still underestimated this sudden attack. He felt a sharp pain in his chest and was left with a deep wound. Boy! Seeing himself injured by a young man, Tang Hao was furious. Not only that, for some reason, the young man in front of him gave him a very familiar feeling. Just as he was about to strike again, a beast roar suddenly came from behind him, and Tang Hao could only temporarily stop his action and turn around to flee far away. Damn it! The crowd fell to the ground in a mess, and Shui Lanxin had already escaped from the martial soul true body. Seeing the miserable state of the beautiful Dean, Lin Chuan's eyes were full of anger. This damn Tang Dachui, it's okay to divert the trouble, but also attack them. He remembered this grudge. It's not that easy to leave like this. The purple soul ring behind Lin Chuan lit up, and the arrows transformed by soul power flew out rapidly. With the domineering aura of observation, Tang Hao was instantly locked, and with the blessing of mental power, a white light flashed. 3rd Soul Skill, Rain of Arrows. The arrows instantly split and turned into 8 white lights that enveloped Tang Hao. A trifle. Tang Hao snorted disdainfully as his mental power captured the fluctuations of the soul power behind him. He quickly swung the clear sky hammer, forming an airtight shadow that blocked the rain of arrows. However, at this moment, a flash of lightning suddenly fell from the sky and hit the clear sky hammer. Zizizizi! For a moment, the thunder exploded and enveloped Tang Hao's entire body. Under the baptism of thunder and lightning, a little thunder entered his body and raged from the inside of his body, causing Tang Hao's body to freeze for a moment. Who knew that the next moment, another arrow came and hit his chest accurately. Boom! The sky-high flames instantly engulfed Tang Hao, and soon, a figure rushed out of the smoke and dust. Damn it! Tang Hao's face was ashen, his robe had been burned by the flames, even part of his hair had been scorched, and his chest was actually burned. Under the series of combinations just now, he was also in trouble for a while. Although he was not seriously injured, he looked extremely embarrassed. Humph, it's impossible to survive anyway, otherwise I will definitely let you taste the power of my clear sky hammer. Tang Hao snorted coldly, but did not stop and left quickly. Lin Chuan's face still had anger on him when he noticed Tang Hao leaving, although Wu Huan had undergone a spiritual refining, which greatly increased the power of his soul skills. It was still too difficult to deal with a title Douluo, but at least it left some scars on Tang Hao. This is just interest, I'll settle the rest with you later. Lin Chuan spat, and also sensed that two terrifying auras were getting closer and closer. Damn it, let him run away, the azure bull python growled, and a trace of humanized unkindness appeared in its lantern-like eyes. Roar! The Titan giant ape suddenly roared, looking at Lin Chuan and the others, and then turned to look at the azure bull python, his eyes full of questions. Another human who came to hunt souls, then kill him. The azure bull python's eyes were cold, and his words contained a strong murderous intent. Lin Chuan, Qin Shan, run. Leng Man took the lead, and the soul ring behind her lit up. However, the Titan giant ape only slapped her with a slap, and she was knocked out and smashed on the ground, leaving a deep pit. Damn, is this the end? Feeling the terrifying aura, Qin Shan showed a trace of despair on her face. Human, dare you? Who knew that at this moment, the azure bull python suddenly roared, and a green light emerged from its body, and everything around it suddenly turned into a green world. Qin Shan only felt her body slow down instantly, slowing down by at least 30%, at the same time, the Titan giant ape turned around and punched directly. Stop! At the critical moment, the huge fist stopped, but the strong fist wind continued to move forward, forming an endless air wave, shaking the leaves to scatter in disorder. That's it. Lin Chuan breathed a sigh of relief. One hand tightly hugged Xiao Wu's neck from behind, the night shadow in his hand pressed against Xiao Wu's chin, the sharp blade even pierced the girl's skin, and blood flowed down the blade.